Okay, guys, so let's dive right into it. So, what we have here, a composition I made previously, we have like some footage and a just a conversion LUT from the log footage, and let's get started. So, first of all, what you want to do is you want to take your shape and draw something like this, and change the fill to a solid color. There you go, and shut down the stroke for now. Okay, so we have this. Now, what I'm gonna do is align this puppy so it fits to the comp. I'll just grab it and make it center. Okay, so now we have the shape. Now I'm gonna click on the shape and give it some round corners, so it's a bit smooth and not that sharp edged. So just go into the rectangle path and increase the roundness at about, I don't know, maybe 180. Yeah, that looks fine to me. So what we're gonna do now is, again, we're gonna drop a fast compound blur. No, a fast box blur, sorry. There you go. I'm just gonna drop this fast box blur onto the layer, and what we're going to do is we're going to tell After Effects to take this layer and use it as an adjustment layer by clicking right here, and you see this little icon is now activated. So what we can do now is increase the blur radius and maybe iterations to 8. What this does is uses this shape layer as an adjustment layer and nothing else gets involved. So what we have now is kind of like a glassy stuff, like a glass, blurry, whatever. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is drop in our texture. So this is just a texture I downloaded from the internet. And we're gonna press S and scale it down. And also R for rotation and rotate it 90 degrees. So this looks about right, and scale it down a bit more. That looks good to me. Okay, what we're gonna do now is pre-comp it and move all attributes and hit OK. Now turn the layer off for now. So go back on your, we're just gonna rename this to glass with 3 S's because that's the correct way to write glass. So we're going to take this one and we're going to apply another effect on it, which is called compound blur. Compound blur. There you go. And drop it on the glass texture. Now what this does, it takes the texture, so the compound blur effect takes the texture just we imported in the composition and uses it to create some kind of a textured effect on our glass layer. So what we're going to do is tell it to use the texture comp. And now we're going to increase the maximum blur to about, let's say, 150. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit invert blur. So you get this frosty looking effect over here. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is go into our texture and apply a brightness and contrast. We'll see why in a minute. So brightness and contrast, just drop it up and increase the brightness and also increase contrast. And we're gonna go back and you gotta see like it adds a little bit more texture to it. So this looks good for me, and what we're going to do now is apply some depth to our glass because now it's just a one-dimensional. So we're going to make it look like a bit 3D. So get your glass layer again, now copy and duplicate and rename it immediately so we know what we're talking about. So we're going to call this one edge for now. Now select your layer and go to fill and select none. And add a stroke to it, like a solid color. Okay, now remove all effects and also remove the adjustment layer icon. So what we get is a solid black border around it. Okay, so now right click and go to layer style and select gradient overlay. Now we got this gradient going from white to black. So what we're going to do now is go into our blending. First of all, what we're going to do is toggle switch so we get the blending modes, and we're going to set the overall mode to add. Now we're going to go into gradient overlay and set its blend mode to overlay and the style to reflected. And this looks kind of like this. Okay, but there's one more step we need to do. So go back into your layer style and now hit edit gradient. And you get this pop-up here. So you want to select the top right marker here in the corner and set its opacity to 0. And what this does is it removes the black color, and we're just gonna, I don't know if you can see it, but we have like a little edge over here. So if we go inside the edge again and play a little bit with the angle over here, the color also changes. I don't know if you can see it because of the mask, but you're just gonna have to trust me. So what we're gonna do now is go back and we want to animate this angle. So hit Alt or what is it? Alt on Windows. Yeah, you find it by yourself. Okay, just do the animation expression stuff. Okay, so we're gonna type in time times 40, and what this does is constantly animating. So we're gonna go back and make it fit, and if we move our playback or our playhead back. You're a filmmaker, right? Yeah, you're a filmmaker. So this is what this does. You see the corners are animated, and yeah, looks kind of cool. Good. So there's one more thing we need to do now is to add some text. Well, first of all, let's do something else first because we want to make it 3D first. So let's do that. So take your glass texture and toggle switch again and make it 3D. Take your edge and also make it 3D. Now what you want to do is you want to parent the edge to the glass. So whenever you move this layer around, everything else gets moved around too at the same amount. So if we go to transform and we hit our Y rotation, you can see the edges following the glass texture. But if you're noticing, our texture is not. So we need to do something about it. Now you think you could just go there and parent the texture to the glass, but this is something weird that doesn't work. So I have a solution for that, which is not that complicated, but you need to do it if you want the texture to move. So what I'm going to do is move the texture comp over to here so we have both the texture and the main comp open at the same time. Now, what you want to do is go into your glass layer and you want to have all of these attributes open, and then the same thing over here too. So transform and make it 3D, and you have the X, Y, Z. So what you want to do now is you want to take your Z rotation and parent it to the Z rotation of the glass layer. Now you see this one, of course, it follows the Z rotation over here, so it turned around. What you want to do is you want to put it back in a vertical position. So just go into the expression, into your glass layer, and whatever you have there, just add it by 90. And you're good to go because 90 degrees. So it's back to vertical. Now you want to do the same thing with the YX rotation. So I'm just going to parent Y to Y and X to X. Now scale is another thing you want to parent also, because if you want to do like some funky animations, like move it closer to the camera or something like that, you need to parent it too. So scale. Oh, damn it. So scale, take the parent and move it over to scale. And now we get this. So there's a solution to that too. So go back into your expression. So now you want to do some math. So whatever negative number you multiply by, the texture gets smaller. So if we multiply by, let's say, minus 0.45, let's have a look. Yeah, so we're having the texture back to normal. Okay, let's close this down. Close the scale. And the last thing we want to parent is the position. Okay, so it moved a bit to the left, but I don't think it's that crucial. No, it looks okay. Good. So we're going to close this one down, and now whenever I turn this around, the texture moves also. So that's great. Now let's do some text. So we're just going to grab my text tool and type 3D text effect texture or whatever. I'm going to take this one and with my selection tool, put it like maybe over here. Now what I'm going to do also, this is not necessary, but it's just a good practice. So transform and center anchor point and layer content. Good. So we have the 3D text. Now we are going to take the After Effects logo and put it down in the comp as well. Play a bit with the scale and move it to whatever we want it to be. Something like this. So we got this. Now we want to do the same thing and parent it to the glass. Same with the logo. So now when we move the glass around, it doesn't. Why? Well, because we have to tell After Effects that the logo is a 3D layer as well, and the text too. So now it should work. Yep, and it does. Good. Now I want to add some secret sauce to this, and this is a paid plugin, but it's worth it. It's called Deep Glow. I'm just going to add it to the text for now. As you can see, it looks okay, but we're going to play with the blending mode again. So select your text, and I'm going to try out screen 3D. Okay. Maybe overlay. Okay, overlay looks good. Now go to your Deep Glow, and under chromatic aberration, you can hit enable, and you get this RGB split up over here. So looks like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our text layer and make a duplicate. So it has a bit more strength. Now, wherever you move your cursor, the bright spots behind the glass textures are going to have an impact on the text. So keep that in mind. Okay, so for me it looks okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with the logo and add a Deep Glow to it and change its blending mode to overlay. No. Let's do screen with this one. Yeah, I like screen more. And hit T for opacity and bring that down to about 80%. Okay. And that's about it. So let's have a quick look. Let's say we want to animate the glass texture. Let's hit the Y rotation. Oh, yeah, don't forget, by the way, to tell After Effects that the copy of your text needs also to be parented to the glass. So there you go. So we don't get that weird effect. Now when we hit rotation, it should stay in place, and it does, as well as scaling should not be a problem. So this is how this works. So now you can do whatever you want. You can turn it around. Let's do like a quick turn, maybe like make it a 2-second turn. So we want to do like, I don't know, maybe 1 revolution over here and hit a keyframe here. So this is 1 revolution, and go back here and set it back to 0 again. And this one turns around. Of course, you can add motion blur to it and to the edge and to your text, as well as to the logo. And you can hit the graph, select your keyframes first, and edit speed graph. Oh yeah, you forgot. You need to take this one, maybe easy ease in. Now select the keyframes, and you can do some funky animation with it. Let's have a look. You're filming. Yeah. And that's it. Well, I guess this wraps up the tutorial for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.